Hey y'all, it's Ashley Bookishrealm and I'm back with another video. As you can see by the title of this video, we're here to talk about some books that I would like to make it through by the end of the year. I feel like I sound slightly congested. I don't know. So either way, we all know how I am about TBRs. I am not great with TBRs. I am a mood reader through and through, but I have some very special motivation for about half of these titles. Two of them are actually rereads, so it's not that I haven't read some of these before, but actually four of them are rereads. So it's really not a brand new TBR. It's just some things that I would like to see myself get through by the end of 2023. Gives me 3 months. Will I be able to do it? I think all bets are really actually against me, and that's perfectly fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. We're just gonna go with it. Okay. So I have a wide variety of genres and age categories with this one. We're not gonna go in any particular order. We're literally just going to go from the top of the list. So the first thing that I have here is I have 5 rereads. I am bugging. 5 of these are rereads. So half of this list is rereads. So the first one I have on my list is A Lost Hero. As you can see, this is gonna be almost my third time, it's my second or third go round with this one. I'm hoping to make it to this one. The Lost Hero is the first book in the Percy Jackson and their Heroes of Olympus series. This is the start of a new series in the Percy Jackson world. I have already read this. I've read this entire series. I started annotating this specific copy, but then I went back this year and I reread all of the Percy Jackson Olympian series, and I'm reading all of the novellas and graphic novel adaptations, and I am currently vlogging the experience. I do not expect this video to come out this year. It is the plan that this video will not make it out until some point next year, because that's just life and how hectic my schedule is. But I am hoping that before the end of the year, I do make it over to this series. I am currently in the process of reading the graphic novel adaptations of Percy Jackson and the Olympians for the first time. And it's a slow moving process because I'm not a fan of them. And so I've been delaying it, but it's okay. I have that and I have those, a novella, and maybe like 2 other things to read before I jump into The Lost Hero. But I'm hoping that this will be my motivation to get through those things. That way I can start the next part of the series. I absolutely love Percy Jackson. I'm a Percy Jackson fangirl. As y'all know, the actual adaptation that Rick Riordan was a part of this go round drops December of this year. So I probably will be doing some live reactions to when it first drops. The trailer had me amp. I'm excited. Let's hope that it's as good as I'm anticipating it to be. But yeah, I had to add this one to the list. The next one that I wanted to add to this list is one that I actually have already started, and this is Fablehaven book number 2, Rise of the Evening Star. I read the first book this year and really thought it was interesting. This is a very old middle grade series. We're talking, it's got to be over 10 years old. And so some aspects of it are really not things that hold up. They don't hold up at all, but I was interested enough in this world to want to continue. Plus I own all of the books. I own a lot of Brandon Mull's books, if not almost his entire bibliography, which is a completely different conversation. But I did start this one. I did hear that the books do progressively get better as the characters get older and they develop more. I'm not that far into it, which I wish I would have used a bookmark for this, but I can't be more than 50 pages into this one, and it follows the events of the first one. So hopefully I will make it through this one. I'm not banking on making it past this book in the series this year, but at least getting through this second book would be nice. The next one that I have is one that I've been meaning to start because these books move so well at the library, and I keep looking at it on my shelf and I'm like, I really just want to get through this series because I think it's fairly quick reads, but they're chunkers. The books are huge, and that's The Keeper of the Lost Cities. The graphic novel adaptation of this actually comes out in November, so it'll be interesting to see like how they adapt these into graphic novels, because these are not tiny books. This is the first book in the series. It's close to 500 pages, and that's just the first book. They get longer and longer. As a matter of fact, this is book number 8.5 in the series. I randomly own this one because it was on sale, I think, for like $2 or $3, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get it. This was a while ago. This one is close to 800 pages. So this is definitely one of those series that you make an investment in, and I've been meaning to pick it up because so many people find it interesting. I believe it's a middle grade fantasy, I know that, but I think it deals a little bit with elves and telekinesis. So I'm excited for that because I hear such good things, and I really want to read the graphic novel. So I was like, I need to read this first to get a better idea of what the series is about. The next book that I have is a sequel, and this is Witchlings: The Golden Frog Games. I read Witchlings, the first book in the series, when it first came out, and they kindly sent me the first and second book because I listened to the first one on audio, and I have it right here. So this is the first one, Witchlings. It's so good. It's such a great middle grade series. But this one, which is the second book in the series, just recently came out, and I do want to continue on with the series because I love it so much. This is perfect for like October, Halloween, spooky time, so I may save it for that, but I don't know because we definitely have Black Halloween coming on, and I want to dedicate most of my time to Black Halloween-a-thon. But I am hoping to pick this one up because Witchling was so good. Very great look at like middle grade friendships and what it's like to be an outsider and working against what is often considered the norm, and a lot of great magic system. I want to jump into this, but I almost feel like I need to reread this because it's been a while since I've read Witchlings, and I know that there's going to be some details in here that I'm not going to want to miss. So I'll make a decision about that, but I definitely wanted to include Witchlings on this list. The next one that I have is actually kind of a surprise because I did not know or did not think that I would be revisiting this series this soon. I decided to revisit it this year, and that is the Cartel series by Ashley and Jaquavis. I don't know, I read, I think the first book reread the first book in the series maybe, what's this month, September? Maybe in July I reread the first book, and so I just want to continue on with the series. I'm not going to make it through the series by the end of the year, but I do want to continue on. I have already read this. This is a reread for me. It's a straight lit series, very dark. I don't think I realized like how dark it was until I reread the first book, and I was like, oh, so everybody pretty much dies in this series. I completely forgot how many people die in the Cartel and how much betrayal goes on in the Cartel. So I'm excited to get to the second one. I feel like I've read all the way up through book 3, but I can't exactly remember, but I know for a fact that I've read at least books 1 and 2, so this will be a reread for me. The next one I have is another reread, and this was on my unhaul, or what is it, read it or unhaul video that I need to go back and revisit because there's some books on there that I did not get to that I need to get to by the end of this year, and one of those books was Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I am excited to dive back into this. Every time I hold this book, I get super excited to read it. It is a young adult fantasy series that is very much so likened to Game of Thrones, where you can't trust anyone. Like, everybody's pretty much out for themselves. It's told through multiple perspectives, and it's been so long since I've read this series. I am dying to get back into it. So I don't know if I'll get to it this month, but I need to prioritize this one. I think why I've always been so hesitant about jumping back into Fallen Kingdoms is that the series is not technically complete. So there are 5 books, or yeah. Is it 5 books or is it 6? It's 6 books in the original. Then I think there were supposed to be 3 spinoffs, and that last spinoff book was supposed to complete the series, or maybe it's just 5 and 3 spinoffs. I don't know. Either way, it's 5 or 6. But the issue is that that last spinoff book is not complete, and so the conclusion is not really there. And so it's just, I get really, really sad and kind of frustrated about it, because I'm thinking like, dang, well, if I read this book and I pick up the series again, like, I'm never going to get the true conclusion, because of the fact that the series technically was never truly finished, which is disheartening, but that's what happens when there's not enough financial backing for the author. I almost wish that, because she's still writing, she's just recently put out this year, she put out a new YA book, and like, part of me wished that she just would have independently published the last one and called it a day. But I know that that's easier said than done, but I would have, oh man, what I would give to have the conclusion to this one. But I definitely am hoping to at least read this first one by the time that the year ends. The next one is wild for me to even put on this list, like high key, it's wild for me to put on this list, not gonna lie to you, because I literally have already read this book this year, and I'm already putting it on a list to reread, which almost doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it's fine, because it's what I want to do. And so I'm gonna do it, and that is Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop. Y'all know this is one of my favorite books of 2023, but I want to reread it and annotate it. I literally just read this book a couple of months ago. It was so good. This book was fantastic, y'all. I don't think people understand like how much I love this book. This was an easy 5-star read for me, and I completely fell in love with it. And this edition is prettier than what I read on my Kindle. Like, I love this physical edition because it has these pretty pictures on the inside, which I did not know. I just bought it because I had a gift card, and it was one that I'd already read, and I was like, oh, I just, I have a gift card, I want to use my gift card and get it because I loved it so much. But it is, this was so good. Every time I explain this book, people are like, what? So she gets married, well, she's dating a guy who ends up dating her sister, and they end up getting engaged. And it's not awkward because she's okay with it, but everybody thinks that she shouldn't be okay with it, or they feel like she's lying about being okay with it, and she really is fine with it. So she's, they have a destination wedding, and so she's there helping plan the wedding. But then she makes a deal with the ex-boyfriend's best man, and they're only supposed to be like hooking up for a week. We all know that was not going to be a thing. So yes, that's why I added this. I added this simply just to reread and annotate, because I've already read it this year. The next one that we have is another reread, and I'm actually in the process of, I'm about to start this one within the next week or so. I'm debating actually getting a different copy, getting another, which is, I typically don't do this, but I low-key want to annotate this, but I don't want to write in this specific edition because this is a first edition, and it is signed, and you cannot really find this book anymore. It is stamped and signed, and this is, this copy at this point is over 10 years old, which is fine, but I would like to keep it in as pristine condition as possible. And I don't think I've written in this yet. I'm hoping I didn't write in it. I didn't. I was just tabbing. And that's The Diviners by Libro FM. I'm actually doing a buddy read of this book with Alana and Robin. So I will be reading this book this month, but I haven't decided if I'm going to read this copy that I own, which is the old copy, the original copy that it's hard to find this copy of this book. And my copy, as I always tell people, is stamped and signed by Libro FM when I met her a long time ago. Yeah, because this is the one that's like really, really pretty underneath the cover. I may get the paperback copy of it just so that I can write in that one. I just don't want to write in this one. which is strange, probably, but I just don't want to write in it. The Diviners is one of my favorite series. I just have not finished it, although I do own all 4 of the books. It is a paranormal historical series that deals a lot with these individuals who are called diviners, who have magical abilities. We start off focusing on a main character by the name of Evie, and how she has to move from, I think she's from Ohio, and she has to move there to New York City because she gets caught using her abilities, and she's living with her uncle, and things just kind of unravel from there. I know that there's a lot of social commentary made in these books, especially the one that came out in 2016, which was around Trump's election period. There was a lot of things that Libro Bray felt that she put into those books that I thought was really, really interesting. She includes a lot of historical accuracy in her books in terms of how certain groups were treated in the series, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful writing. It's haunting. I remember I told her when I first read this book, when I met her and I read this book, I was like, this book literally gave me nightmares because it was just really, really spooky. And so yeah, I think this might be my 3rd time reading this book, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I've read it physically, I've listened to it in audio, so I think this is my 3rd time reading it. The next one that I have is one that will get read as well because this is a buddy read. I'm still working. My 2 partners have already finished their assignment. I'm the one that's being slack because they have finished their assignment, and I am reading the first one. I've already read the first one. It is a reread for me, but I also want to go back and read the Merciless Ones. This is the 2nd book in the Gilded Ones, which I think is going to be a trilogy. The cover for the 3rd book was revealed and it releases in early 2024. So we are trying to read through it, and I'm buddy reading this with Ray and Alana, and they have already finished their read of the Gilded Ones, and then we are supposed to be starting our read of the Merciless Ones, I think next month. I think we're starting this one next month. So I will be reading this because it is another buddy read. I was very strategic in how I pick these books for books that I want to finish by the end of the year, but this is another buddy read that I'm excited to pick up. The cover for the 3rd one is absolutely beautiful. These books are great. I haven't read this one, but because I don't think this one got as much buzz as the first one, but the Gilded Ones is great. It's a hard read because part of it is based on Namina Forna's experience growing up in Sierra Leone during the Civil War, and so she draws a lot of her experiences and what a lot of youth went through and are still dealing with in terms of like mental and emotional well-being and even physical well-being. And so there are parts where it's brutal, but very true to her experience. I am not sure why this one didn't get as much buzz as the first book. It kind of like, the buzz kind of tapered, and I'm not exactly sure why that was a thing that happened, but I am excited to dive into it and read it. Namina is a gifted writer, beautiful, beautiful human inside and out, so looking forward to picking this one up. And the last one that I have on here is one that I've been meaning to read and have been told to read because I have read 2 of this author's other works. Now this seems to have some interesting I don't want to say feedback, but reviews, be it how people perceive this book, which is interesting. And that is Babel, an Arcane History by R.F. Kuang. I read Yellowface this year, and I've read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I really enjoyed both. I was told that I would really, really enjoy Babel, and I own a copy of Babel. I've been owned a copy of Babel. I own an audiobook copy of Babel. I just have not stepped into reading Babel yet. So I'm hoping to possibly make it through this before the end of the year, but we will see what happens. I know that this is pretty dense. This has footnotes attached to it. Like, I literally just flipped to a page and there are footnotes in this book, and it's it's a very, I want to say like it's a divisive book, but there are people who have read this and it's like, this book is racist, it's her manifesto, and people feel some type of way about it. But I think a lot of that is intentional, and it's thick. It's a thick one, but it's fine. We will take it slow with the audiobook, probably do a blended read of this one so that I can make it through it. All right, y'all, so those are 10 books that I am hoping to get to before the year ends. A couple of these I think I'm pretty much guaranteed to get through because they're buddy reads, but some of them, you know, the Rick Riordan one is probably the one that is the biggest stretch for me because I don't know how far I'm going to make it through everything else before I get to that specific Rick Riordan book, but we'll see what happens. As always, let me know in the comments like what are some books you're hoping to make it through before the end of the year. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking to support the channel, all the links will be down in the description box below, and I'll be back with another video soon. Bye.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around.